specifically stock market volatility, I mean, the levels of the VIX are up to the levels they were in the early days of the pandemic, coming off somewhat now. Some people believe the Fed will intervene if the stock market plummets, the so-called Fed put. Are they correct?
I'm going to say no with an explanation. So what I think is going on in markets is markets are processing what's going on. And, it's really the policies, particularly the trade policy. And really the question is, where's that going to come in? Where's that going to land? And we don't know that yet. And until we know that, you can't really make informed assessments that would still be highly uncertain. Once you know what the policies are, it'll still be highly uncertain what the economic effects will be. So markets are struggling with a lot of uncertainty, and that means volatility. But having said that, markets are functioning, conditional on being in such a challenging situation. Markets are doing what they're supposed to do. They're orderly and they're functioning just about as you would expect them to function.
Hey, what's going up, bull runners? Welcome back to the channel. Imagine this. You're scrolling through your phone, checking crypto prices, and you start to wonder, could your investments actually change your life? Not just your bank account, but your happiness. Sounds crazy, right? What if I told you that 1,000 XRP, a coin you might already own, could hold the key to something bigger? Or that a UFC legend is jumping into crypto to make blockchain go mainstream? And hold up, there's a massive court update on Ripple that could shake the entire market. The crypto world is moving fast, faster than ever. Every day, new stories break that could mean the difference between missing out or riding the next big wave. The problem is most people are too busy to keep up, and by the time that you hear the news, it's too late. But don't worry, that's why you're here today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to be breaking down the biggest crypto stories hitting the market today with simple, no-nonsense explanations. So stick with me because these headlines aren't just news. They could shape the next crypto move. And on top of the major headlines we'll be covering today, we will also be jumping over to X to find out all the breaking news that's happening today. We will also check in on XRP in the charts, and we'll take a look at our short-term and long-term momentum waves. We'll check in on our most pressing resistance and supports coming up. We will also be checking in on the financial news calendar for this week. We'll deep dive into, could 1,000 XRP buy you happiness? Court grants a 60-day pause for the SEC Ripple case. And UFC boss Dana White becomes a VeChain advisor to push blockchain mainstream. But first, let's head over to CoinMarketCap and check out the health of the overall crypto market. Today, we are coming in at $2.66 trillion total market cap. It is up 0.51%. In the last 24 hours, we do have $81 billion worth of volume. We are still waiting for price to break back above this level here as far as market structure goes, over 2.78 trillion. So we need to be over 2.8 trillion and get a new higher high as far as market structure goes to flip us back to bullish market structure. This view here is based on the last 30 days. Taking a look at the last 12 months, as you can see, we've just had continuous lower high, lower high, lower high. That's why it is so important in reality, really to break back above that $3 trillion level. Now, the problem is, as a complete market right now, crypto's having a liquidity problem. People are having a hard time paying their mortgage, paying their credit card bills, paying everything. So the actual liquidity to flow into the market is struggling at the moment. Fear and greed index is coming in at 29. Yesterday was a 31, but last week was all the way down at extreme fear of 15. So we are starting to at least recover as far as that goes. Altcoin season index coming in at 15 out of 100. So we are still in Bitcoin season. Bitcoin dominance breaking above 63%. Yesterday was 62.9. We're now at 63.1%, up 2.36% in the last 24 hours. Checking in on our crypto ETF update. So on the 13th, we did have an outflow of $516,000, which is literally chump change when it comes to the ETF tracker. The next day, on the 14th of April, we had an inflow of $76 million to the upside. And as of the most recent report from yesterday, we got another gain of $3 million. So when we zoom out and take a look at the yearly, last week was absolutely dreadful. Over the last couple of weeks, we were doing pretty well. Last week, unfortunately, down $717 million. But already this week, even with the lackluster performance in the charts, we do have $79 million to the upside for Bitcoin ETF inflows. Top 5 most popular coins according to CoinMarketCap today. Number 1, Bitcoin. Number 2, XRP. Number 3, Ergo. Number 4, Solana. Number 5, Ethereum. Top 5 cryptos by total market cap. Bitcoin, of course, coming in number 1 at $1.6 trillion. Ethereum getting closer to $200 billion again at $190, number 2. Tether, number 3 at $144 billion. XRP at number 4 at $121 billion. BNB at $82 billion. And number 6, Solana at $67 billion. And we did have some really positive financial news that came out today. Even though the markets were in turmoil, that is because of Fed Powell coming out. As you saw in the intro of the video, we'll get more into details of that shortly. But core retail sales was up. It was forecasted at 0.4%, and it actually came in at 0.5%. And retail sales month over month was forecasted at 1.3%. And it did beat that at 1.4%. Retail sales month over month measures the change in total value of sales at the retail level, and the usual effect, actual greater than forecast, is good for the currency. So the US dollar should have had a strong day in the market today. However, unfortunately, Jerome Powell then went up on stage and gave a talk, and we're going to go over a couple of different things when we jump over to X, but he didn't have anything exciting to say about the upcoming interest rate reduction. Unfortunately, interest rates are still staying where they're at. It would be fantastic for our economy for Jerome Powell to reduce the interest rates so people could get excited, more liquidity could flow into the markets, but he's still holding a pause on us. Big number coming out tomorrow to pay attention. Make sure you subscribe, check back with us tomorrow. But tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, unemployment claims will come out. Right now it's projected to be at 225,000. We obviously want a lower number than that. So the usual effect is when you have an actual less than forecast, it is good for the US dollar. Jumping over to X to find out what's happening right now. Justin, over $1.5 trillion was wiped out of the US stock market today. And as you saw in the intro of the video, Jerome Powell came out when he was asked if they would step in and help the stock market if it continues to fall. He said, no. I think the market is functioning as it should be, even though there are many uncertainties. And this is the big key word right here, uncertainty. We are still uncertain about the way forward with Bitcoin, with cryptos as a whole, with the stock market because of these tariffs. Everyone around the world is scared. The big money players are scared. That's why they're moving into gold. We'll take a quick look at the gold chart here on the daily. Now, gold is a risk-off asset. So when you don't want to be in stocks, you want to be in gold to hold your money there. And what's interesting, as you can see, the green candles to the upside, it was plugging along pretty decent. But look at the last week. So as of April 9th, this huge move to the upside, which is not normal. The next day, April 10th, another huge move to the upside. Then we get a 3-day consolidation. And then yesterday's candle that just closed officially on April 16th was a massive move. We are now over $3,350. It is an all-time high for gold. And when we take a look at an even larger time frame, again, look at these green candles to the upside and even the red candles to the downside. Not very large, right? So we did have a pretty big one here, March of 2024. But look at these last 2 months, absolutely moonshots. March of 2025 and then also April of 2025, and then even had a massive pullback down to fill in this fair value gap before surging to the upside. Gold this month, which we have 13 days left in the month, from its low of the month when it came and filled this gap to its current level now, is up 13%. Gold is up 13% in 15 days. Absolutely crazy. And if we take a look back all the way from January until now, so January, February, March, and April, it's up 28%. And conversely, if we take a look at the US dollar, also known as the Dixie, from January until now, the dollar is down 10%. So the United States dollar value currently trading at 99.273. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we did a really great article talking about how when the dollar reaches below 100, it is typically very bullish for Bitcoin. In fact, we can take a look during this drop right here. The month of September was the final drop for the dollar before a nice fat surge to the upside for October, November, and December going into January. And when we can see right here, when the Dixie got to $100 and bottomed out before its move to the upside, that is exactly where Bitcoin's move started making its move to the upside on the monthly charts. But as we know right now, the Federal Reserve does not want to bail out the market at all. This out, Stuart Alderati on CNBC just set the record straight. The most comprehensive crypto study in US history highlights one thing: XRP isn't just part of the conversation. XRP is the main event.
Now, the NCAA's initial survey sheds light on how Americans are thinking about crypto today. Why was it important to conduct this kind of research? And did anything surprise you in the findings?
A lot surprised me in the findings. So the NCAA partnered with the Harris Poll to conduct the largest ever study of crypto holders in America. And what we heard is that crypto is going mainstream. 1 in 5 Americans, 55 million American US adults own or use crypto. And crypto doesn't have a type. Holders come from all walks of life, ages, genders, income levels, professions. More people over the age of 55 own crypto than people under the age of 25. Crypto isn't just for the bros, the crypto bros. Nearly a third of crypto holders are women. And this is interesting, at least I found that it was interesting. Nearly as many crypto holders work in construction as do in the technology sector. And when it comes to income, crypto isn't just for the rich. Many crypto holders are not in high income brackets. 26% of crypto owning households earn less than $75,000 a year. That's just 4 very quick metrics or data points. And when you dig into the report, there is more to learn, all of which I think is, some is surprising, some is not surprising, some is really just confirming what we thought. But now we have a definitive survey, the largest ever of its kind in the US, that folks can now point to and rely on.
Crypto is the way of the future, and that's why you're a genius for being here today. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below. And also, things I was taking notes on during that, we have Watcher Guru posting, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says US federal debt is not at an unsustainable level. So that's why they are not ready to step in yet, because he thinks everything is still just fine. It's just uncertainty that's our problem. Fed Chair Jerome Powell also said that he thinks that there will be loosening of bank rules on crypto. And if you remember yesterday, we did a nice long article about debanking is still going on in crypto. Choke point 2.0 is still a real thing. So Jerome Powell needs to step in and let these banks release the hounds and stop being so restrictive to crypto companies. Another very important thing that I've been covering on the channel as well, and a lot of the other creators on the team, Raul Paul also posted this, a great post for you to make sure you're following along with. I know many of you want to see an updated version of the Bitcoin versus global M2 chart. Here it is, just a very small part of the weekly macro investing tool, MIT, as part of the RV+. It's time to give or take a few days. And what he means, it's time to rip to the upside for Bitcoin. So as we can see, the white line here is the global money supply, and Bitcoin follows along with it, typically extremely close. We're actually very far behind at this point. Typically it's closer, but we're already in April, and this chart was starting to rip to the upside of global money supply in January. So Bitcoin does have a lot of catching up to do, and if it just catches up with the current M2 money supply, we're talking about a price of $140,000. Also in today's meeting, this is where Fed Chair Jerome Powell said tariffs may have a larger and more persistent impact on inflation than previously expected.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. The inflationary effects could also be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully to prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
And just in, speaking of tariffs, the United States had generated a total of $21 billion in tariff revenue since Trump has taken office. And Unusual Whales posted U.S. households are more invested in stocks than ever, and it's distorting market value, says JP Morgan. So JP Morgan saying that it's hard to evaluate stocks now because normal people own them. When I read that, it was just absolutely blowing my mind. Basically saying that retail traders are ruining the game for the big banks. Could 1,000 XRP buy you happiness? Some crypto enthusiasts are making eye-catching predictions about XRP, suggesting that buying just 1,000 tokens could set investors up for life. Now, as you know, watching these videos, none of this information is financial advice, so do your own research. But what they're saying here is that holding 1,000 tokens could be sufficient to gain a joyful and free life by 2029. And it's a remarkable prediction based on the prices now, which we're currently sitting at like just over $2. So if you're holding 1,000 tokens where we're sitting right now, you're holding about $2,100. But what a lot of these influencers are telling you is that XRP is going to go to 1,000 per coin. So you're going to be holding $1 million if you hold 1,000 XRP tokens. That would require an increase of price of more than 45,900% from where we're at today. As you can see here from the Dewey post, 1,000 XRP is enough for a joyful and free life. We even have Ito Farina over on X saying not owning at least 1,000 XRP is the definition of insanity. Digging a little deeper into this, wallet data shows limited distribution. Statistics from the XRP rich list indicate that there's a mere 230,500 wallets now holding 500 to 1,000 units. Of the 6.38 million total wallets out there, that's only 10%. So approximately 638,000 have 2,500 tokens or more. And these statistics indicate that if a crazy thing, an astronomical rush to $1,000 per coin did happen, the wealth would be in the hands of relatively small number of early adopters. And as always, price projections, they're going to be considerably different among everybody. Not every prediction sets a high goal of $1,000 per token. Some estimate XRP could be at least $25 per token, although this is well below the $1,000 that it would take to convert 1,000 into $1 million. It would still be a return of 1,000% above today's price. And of course, there's others out there that say $1,000 will be achieved, but it's just going to take longer. So you're going to be looking at like a decade from now. On a really positive news here, as you can see right here, XRP holders, the chart right here with the blue tabs, its count is being held steady at 4.81 million over the past month. So people are not selling. As you remember, XRP has diamond hands. XRP Army has been waiting. Most of you all out there are geniuses, have been holding since 15 cents, 25 cents, and significantly 55 cents. So everything right now is in profit, which is a beautiful thing. And the stability indicates the investor sentiment for XRP has been stable with no indication of large-scale accumulation or large-scale exits. So that's what we've been talking about, right? Right now, everyone's basically on the sidelines. We are waiting for major institutions to get back involved and start pumping some liquidity into the market. These market caps are so high and so large now that it takes actual billions of dollars to move the market, and retail investors are not really pushing that enough volume. XRP holders do seem to be holding steady, perhaps indicative of the faith in the long-term value of the token or a wait-and-see attitude among retail and institutional players alike. Data also indicates a more mature base of holders who are not responding irrationally to short-term price swings. So great job out there, XRP Army. Continue holding strong. And what are we all holding strong for the most part? The $1,000 a token, right? I'm just kidding. Some people say 10,000, but really we're waiting for the SEC case to finally end, and we're getting very, very close. Both parties seemingly agreeing to drop the matter. In an April 16th filing, the U.S. Court of Appeals Second Court, the court approved a joint SEC Ripple motion to hold an appeal of abeyance, temporarily pausing the case for 60 days. As part of the order, the SEC is expected to file a status report by June 15th. So unfortunately, not coming to an end. We just got a pause, a longer pause. 60 days now we have to wait. And you may be wondering yourself, well, why does this even matter, this case? Why won't XRP just pump to the upside, right? Well, the case is crypto's biggest legal battle. A Ripple win would mean clearer rules for all coins, boosting the market. A loss more uncertainty, and maybe lower prices. The pause keeps everyone guessing, of course. We just continue to have to wait, but it's a chance for Ripple to strengthen its case. And investors are watching very closely because XRP future price does hang in the balance. Because if something goes terribly wrong, then we could see significant drops in price of XRP. So this could definitely be make or break for XRP. Are you holding, or are you buying, or are you selling? Let's talk about it in the comments. And in other interesting news, Dana White, the head of the UFC, has become an advisor for VeChain to push blockchain to mainstream. If you've ever watched UFC, VeChain has been a major sponsor for them for a very, very long time. It's all over the shorts. It's all over the cage. It's all over everything there. But now Dana White is starting to partner up. There's also rumors that Dana White may want to step down as the CEO of the UFC this year to move on to bigger, better things. We do know that Dana White is also now a member of the board for Facebook. So interesting to see where he's going with his future. And blockchain may be tapping into UFC's 950 million worldwide audience. VeChain is a layer one blockchain platform focused on real-world application and has added Ultimate Fighting Championship Dana White to its newest official advisor to raise more mainstream awareness for the blockchain technology. UFC taps VeChain for tokenizing the fighters' gloves. The UFC has already implemented VeChain's technology with near-field communication NFC chips integrated into the new generation of fighting gloves. This was done to combat fraud, as fighter apparel is often auctioned off for the charity and other causes, but suffers from high degree of fraud. The NFC plus blockchain combination helps demonstrate the items are authentic and an example of how VeChain creates real-world asset and phygital goods. Get it? Phygital, physical, and digital combination there. So VeChain's blockchain tracks supply chains, which is important. So like making sure that your food or clothes are legit. Dana's job is using his massive platform to bring blockchain to mainstream, the UFC's global fan base. And this could be millions learning about crypto for the first time. VeChain's token right now, VET, jumped 8% on the news, trading at 4 cents today. And why this matters is because crypto needs big names to go mainstream. The Dana White is as big as it gets when it comes to sporting. His involvement could spark wider adoption, not just VeChain, but for blockchain technology overall. If more businesses and fans embrace it, VeChain's value could climb and other projects might follow. Jumping over to the charts for XRP, well, still not much movement. The last 2 days, there was some up and down, but we are still sitting right here on support of our 10 exponential moving average. Yesterday's candle ended up in a doji candle to the downside, indicating a potential move back to the upside, but we do have to hold strong support here at the 10 exponential moving average. As far as our short-term momentum wave, our shaft trend cycle has reached the peak of 100. It very well could be resetting back to zero. If we see that, then we could see a retracement back to this $1.90 level as support. Our long-term momentum indicator, the Wolfpack, has not gotten to the zero line. It's stalling out, as we can see right here. We need some momentum coming into the end of this week to push all cryptos to the upside so we can start making that move up. If we do hold this support and we start to make our move and break above, we're going to be looking at breaking above $2.24 as our next resistance. That also gets us above the 30 and the 50 exponential moving average, which would be phenomenal. Then our next resistance level will be coming in at 250. So what we're looking right now, 225 to the upside is first resistance, 250 as the second resistance. To the downside, we have a support right here at $1.90. And we'll keep you updated in the future videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you soon.